Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. So, day two of tree buying. Yeah, this is starting to get kind of old fast, but the scene where Gregory, Alexis runs into Robert and Diane. It's a tense scene because I can't blame Gregory for how he feels. You know, I mean, bottom line is this woman is coming after his son, you know, and he feels like his son didn't do anything wrong. He also feels like Diane is kind of a vulture for collecting on the family's grief. Of course, she gets educated by Alexis, and Alexis is kind of in a tough position to some extent. Because she wants to defend her friend. And, she's basically sitting there saying to him, hey, listen, she's just doing her job. She's been hired by these people. She represents these people, and she's there to sit there and look out for their best interests. Then she says something that's somewhat kind of off-putting. She's like, there's a good chance that she can sit there and win this case. And it's like, okay, that's not going to make him feel better. She says that she's on Finn's side. She's Team Finn. But I'm like, granted, I get the whole, keeping it real, right? And, she tells him, hey, listen, I'm just looking at this from a legal standpoint. But then you probably shouldn't say things like there's a good chance that um she can win. That's not going to exactly put his mind at ease by just flat out saying that. Also throughout this conversation, you can tell that she wants to go back to being in law. And I don't really understand why she can't. I mean, I guess they're trying to give her this whole thing, this different story about her being, an investigator and an editor and everything like that. And I'm just like, this woman is meant to be a lawyer. Okay, I don't really understand this. Maybe in the beginning, it might have seemed kind of interesting just to switch things up a little bit. And yeah, from the dawn of time since she's been on the show, she's been a lawyer. But the more she talks about how she misses this and this, that, and third, it's like just make her a lawyer at this point, okay? Just make her a lawyer. And I feel like there's a part of me that has a theory that they're going to make her a lawyer again. So it's like, why are we sitting there beating around the bush on this one? Um, Violet in this episode, they want to give her a Christmas tree, and I guess it's supposed to be this whole cutesy thing about how she finds the perfect Christmas tree, but then she doesn't want to sit there and get it because she wants somebody else to have it or something. I don't know. Something about the meaning of Christmas or something. It got lost on me, and mostly because it was boring. So, I did not really care. I gotta keep it 100, okay? I didn't really care for the scene with Marshall. First of all, I didn't really care for the scene of Marshall and Curtis once again talking about another story of his mother. It's like, okay, yes, it was sweet the first time, and I guess it touched some people's hearts, and that's cool and great. Didn't really do anything for me, and no, I'm not a Christmas Grinch. Christmas is my favorite time of the year, just for clarity. It didn't really do anything for me, and watching this scene of him and his late wife, it's one of those things where it's like you can't go back in time. Yes, we all have regrets and things that we wish you can sit there and do, but we don't have time machines. So looking back and regretting the things that we did doesn't really do anything. The best thing we could sit there and do is to live the best life that we can now and to move forward. You know, it's like that's the best we could sit there and atone or make up for the stuff that we didn't do before. Is to move forward with that knowledge and all that good stuff. I don't know. I'm trying to I'm trying to put a positive spin on it, but you know what I'm saying. At the end of the day, we can regret stuff, but don't let it hold you back. You know, that's That's a true crime. Now, this scene with Portia and Curtis, I feel like it could be somewhat controversial. I can see a certain portion of people not liking this. I can understand why. Portia's not there telling Curtis that there's a trial that can, you know, allow him to walk again. Now, the reason why I can sit there and see this to be very problematic, when it comes towards representation and stuff. Now, I'm a big believer that you need to sit there and have a good story. You can have all the representation in the world, and if you don't have a good story, it doesn't mean a goddamn thing. But with that being said, it's not like it's important. They don't really show a lot of people who have handicaps and things of that nature in these soap operas. I'll put it in a different scenario. This is for my comic book fans. There was a point where Barbara Gordon, Batwoman, she got paralyzed by the Joker. She couldn't walk and everything like that. She became Orchestra, whatever I think her name was. Then there was a point where they had this thing and they allowed her to walk again. It was very controversial because, for people that are in the wheelchairs and stuff like that, it's like, oh damn, what do you think they're saying? Like we're not valuable, we're not cool enough and stuff like that. We can't be in comic books and stuff. And you can see that in soap operas and stuff. You can see it being controversial and basically Smith is saying so. Oh, the only way, we're not glamorous, we're not good enough, we don't look good enough and stuff like that because we're in a wheelchair. So I can see it being problematic. And I'm gonna be honest, from jump, when he got in that wheelchair, I knew that it was not gonna last that long. I knew it wasn't gonna last that long. And part of me was just like, well, if they were going to just sit there and practically allow him to walk again, what was the point of putting him in a wheelchair? What was really the point of putting him in a wheelchair? They could have gave him an injury that didn't paralyze him. Because now what you're doing is just saying, oh, I was in a wheelchair. Well, you guys sit and accept life and just kind of learn to live with it. No, 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 no. We're going to sit there and give you this practically magic cure. We're just going to allow you to walk again. I feel like on so many levels, that's just a failure. And it's also disrespectful. So, yes, you got somewhat of an interesting storyline out of it, but at what cost? You know? So, Lucy and Scotty. I don't know what the hell they're doing with Lucy and Scott. Every time they get together, because the thing is they have history. And they've been together before. But now, Lucy's with Marty and she's talking about how she doesn't really have a lot of time for Marty, because she's always working and she's probably doing the real estate business because she's saying that she's not, getting a check. They're not getting salary because they don't want to sit there and lay off their staff. So between doing deception and doing her real estate, it's not really leaving a lot of time for Marty. And of course, Scotty and Liesel are still in the outs because I'm going to be honest, it's stupid. Okay? It's stupid. Liesel's still upset because Scotty sat there and represented Liz. And I'm just like, Liesel, let's just keep it 100, okay? You've done some terrible things in the past. And I understand how, you know, I understand her feelings because it does run deep, especially with Britt. But it's one of those things where it's like, then just end it. Just end the relationship. Just end it altogether. Stop sitting there leading this man on. You can't get past that. Okay, fine. But just let this man go and let him move on with his life. Because to be honest, I'm personally kind of tired of sitting there seeing every time he talks about Liesel, he's sad. I'm like, you're nearly the end of your life. We don't got time for that. Let's just be very clear. Um, so of course now his go-to girl is Lucy. So after he sits there and talks about Lucy, it's like, oh, they talk about the Golden Bachelor or whatever. I'm like, huh, okay, I get it. It's a plug. That's whatever. He's like, well, the only way I'll sit there and be interested if the women sit there and look like you. And she's like, yeah, I got like deception work, so I'm just gonna and just leave. I'm like, sometimes I just don't know where they're going with this show. To be honest, I don't think that they know where they're going with this show. You know, probably the smartest thing that they've done. I mean, it's just a couple of smart things. Was adding Brennan. I think that's his name. Was adding Brennan to this show. It's like every time he comes in, a lot of times it just feels like a breath of fresh air. You know, even in a scene like this where he doesn't really do too much of anything, it's just nice to sit there and see a new face and wondering what what he's gonna do next. He comes in Carly's place pretty much to flirt with her at this point. Like, oh yeah, I came for the BLTs and whatever food, and they're kind of just chit chatting a little bit. And of course, Robert and Diane come in. So this guy just disappears or whatever, and then he comes back because Carly got his food. He comes back with flowers. She's like, oh, I'm not the type of person that dine and ditch or whatever. I was like, technically, you didn't even actually get your food yet, so you didn't really dine and dish. But okay, sure. And he asks her out, and she's like, I'm seeing someone or whatever. And of course, towards the end, as he walks out, he's like, you didn't really come here for like the BOT or anything like that. You're like, no, but whatever. Um, and he looks at her, and he closes the door, and then he looks at her again. And at that point, I was like, all right, bro, Carly's beautiful, but you ain't sit there and do a double take like that. Like when he closed the door and he walked down, he looked at her like through the glass. I was like, bro, no offense, but that's a little um creepy at that point. So she doesn't even have that look of, smile like, oh, that was nice or whatever. It was just more like, what's up with him at this point? The running theory is he's going to sit there and probably kidnap Carly. I'm just like, can you just kidnap Nina at this point? Just to give her something to do. I feel like they're just going to sit there and go, oh, let's kidnap Carly, which would make more sense to sit there and kidnap his wife. But knowing GH, he'll probably sit there and do something like that, which is like totally predictable, but whatever. Um, and the last scene is with Anna and Dante, and this is another scene that doesn't really go anywhere except for the fact that they're talking about Jameson, Forsyth, or whatever, and now the body's missing. Well, it's not even missing. The WSB just took it. So they're both like they're covering their tracks and stuff like that. And Anna's like, listen, I'm gonna sit there and do this next part alone. It's getting really dangerous, getting really hot, and she's just like, I'm not gonna have your death on my conscience at this point, which is totally fine. I'm just like, just be that strong Nikita type that we known you for when I first started watching the show. Because I swear, if she starts doing this whole mopey crying, I can't I can't take it anymore. I really can't. Um, I feel like that's about it. This episode was more filler, just like it was yesterday. And again, the thing is that they have some good stories in the work, right? They got the Pikeman stuff that's going on. They got the Adam stuff that's going on. Um, Valentine and Anna, that's interesting. Hell, even Sasha and Cody is being kind of interesting, right? And for even Finn in a lawsuit, it can be somewhat interesting for him. The problem with this whole lawsuit thing is that we didn't sit there and see the family, right? We didn't see the family yet. We didn't sit there and see the grieving family. come at him and be like, you didn't do enough to sit there and save our dad and my husband and stuff like that. We didn't sit there and see that, and I feel like we need to sit there and see more of that to have a bigger impact, to be more invested in this whole thing. I feel like this storyline just kind of came out of nowhere, just to kind of be like, listen, a lot of people are not really interested in this Finn character. We need to sit there and do something to spice things up. But we don't really want to sit there and spend a lot of money by hiring any extras or really putting a storyline to really kind of give it more of an impact. So we'll sit there and tell half of this stuff off screen, and then maybe if we can get the budget, we'll put more on screen. And that's why I sit there and say it's interesting for him, because him as a character, him as an actor is good, right? The stuff that they got going on with him and Liz is like most people don't really care. I don't really care, but I know that they're there to fill in a romance part. Fine. This is soap opera. You guys didn't have romance in the element. Cool. Otherwise, I feel like he's somewhat wasted. I've watched Michael Easton for a while since he was on Port Charles. A lot of people liked him as John McBain, right? He's kind of a badass. I'm going to be honest. They like him enough to sit there and keep him around, just keep switching him characters wise, but I hope the storyline goes well. I do. I really hope that they give him a good story and they make it, even in the courtroom, they make it interesting. I can be behind it. Time will tell. I feel like that's pretty much about it. If you missed this episode, like I said, you didn't really miss much of anything. I'm just keeping it real. But hopefully it'll get interesting later on. Now, as I feel like I probably missed something. I have no idea what I missed, but I probably missed something. As always, sit there and say, come to a live stream tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. I'll be live streaming for an hour and a half. We'll be sitting there talking about all the shows, General Hospital, Days of Our Lives, Bold and Beautiful, and Young and Restless. And with that being said, I'm going to go. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.